Are you wondering how to get your first 500 subscribers on YouTube? Well, stick around because I've learned a few things during that process and I'd like to share them with you today. And don't forget, if you want to continue to build a foundation for YouTube success, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you click that bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. Hi and welcome to Creator Fundamentals. My name is Dan Currier and it is my mission to simplify YouTube so you and I can grow together. So today I want to talk about how to get your first 500 subscribers on YouTube. I've done it a couple times now and I've learned a couple things that I'd like to share with you. You ready to dive in? Let's get started. All right, one thing I want to mention before we get rolling is that subscriber count, the number of subscribers that you have on your channel, is a byproduct of a well-run channel. It's not so much focusing on increasing that subscriber count, but running your channel in a proper way that will ultimately lead to more subscribers. And again, we want active subscribers, not just simply a larger subscriber count. And that's a very important distinction that a lot of people overlook, especially people who are brand new to YouTube that don't fully understand that that's just something that happens on successful channels and they can't skip the entire process and just work on getting higher subscribers and think that is going to give them success, because at the end of the day, the number of subscribers does not directly correlate to your success on YouTube. All right, so tip number one is do your homework. There is a bunch to learn about growing on YouTube and establishing a successful channel, so you really have to be willing to put in the effort and do your research. Now, when I started on YouTube, I did a ton of research, watched every video I could find about how YouTube worked and tried to apply that to my channel. And hey, we'll call this tip 1A, but I think it's really important when you're out there doing your homework to gather information from multiple sources. Each one of those individuals that shares information that can help you grow on YouTube is going to come at that information from a slightly different perspective, and I think it's really valuable if we look at them all, kind of pull them together and form our own consensus about how to approach growth on YouTube for our own channel and how we are as individuals. When I first started doing research about how YouTube works, I found Derral Eves. Derral Eves did videos about the YouTube algorithm, how YouTube works underneath the hood, and that's what I wanted to learn about and figure out exactly what my goals were on how to run an effective YouTube channel. Shortly after following Derral Eves, I started following Nick Nimmin. Nick Nimmin was an excellent resource for branding and how to make some really fantastic looking thumbnails. My early thumbnails on this channel were inspired by Nick Nimmin and also Tim Schmoyer on Video Creators. Alright, so after binge watching a bunch of Nick Nimmin videos, I came across Brian G. Johnson. Now, Brian G. Johnson had a very unique approach to delivering information about YouTube to his viewers. They say that different is better than better, and Brian G. Johnson definitely took that advice to a whole new level and used it to create amazing engagement on his channel and grow extremely quickly. In fact, he wrote a book about his journey to 5,000 subscribers, and you can check that out. It's called Tube Ritual. I'll throw a link below. But if you want a resource about making engaging content, Brian G. Johnson is definitely the way to go. And last but definitely not least, I found Roberto Blake. And Roberto Blake is focused on helping people create something awesome, which basically is focusing on the practical business side of things to help people have a living and create a business around their creativity. And who doesn't want to be able to do that? As you can see, there's a lot of value from taking those different perspectives and kind of blending them all together for your personal approach to growing on YouTube and making a successful channel. All right, so tip number two is implement what you've learned. Now, I know that may sound like common sense, but you'd be amazed at how many people out there never apply this information to their channels. I see it over and over again. Now, I think part of the problem is that some people get overwhelmed at the amount of information and all the different layers that go into making a successful YouTube channel. In fact, one of the reasons I created this channel was to help people by breaking down all that information into manageable pieces so you could focus on one area at a time. There's plenty of time to improve your channel and get it to where you want it to be, remembering that YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint, so you don't have to get all this in a short amount of time. You pick one area and you work on improving that till you're satisfied with it, although as creators we're probably never completely satisfied, but you break down the work into manageable sections and slowly improve as you move forward. All right, that brings us to tip number three, which is be consistent. You want to be consistent with those best practices that you've been learning and implementing on your channel, and make sure you apply them with every video that you upload. You also want to be consistent in that upload schedule. Figure out what's manageable for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be competitive with the person who's posting every day. You want to find something that you can actually sustain. One of the aspects or the parts of being consistent is being true to yourself and understanding exactly what you're capable of. Posting daily may not be what you are able to do, so don't feel like you have to post daily to succeed on YouTube. Everybody is going to grow at a different rate, and maybe it's 2 videos a week or 1 video a week or whatever that is for you personally, but you want to figure out what it is, what you can manage, and then you want to stick to it and be consistent in that upload schedule. And I'll draw out that consistency a little bit further in terms of the delivery in your videos. The more consistent you are in that delivery, the repetitiveness of some of the phrases that you use or the intro that you use can really help to build brand recognition. You definitely want to slowly improve over time and maybe make small tweaks as you move forward, but the more you can get people familiar to some of the things that you do in your videos. I've had a number of people that tell me that build a foundation for YouTube success is something that they immediately identify with Creator Fundamentals, and that's all because I've used it in every single video that I've created. So consistency is absolutely important in success on YouTube, and you should definitely think about that as you move forward on growing your channel. All right, so this next tip is something that a lot of people have a hard time with, and that is understand that YouTube is a delayed reward model. That means all the time and effort that you're putting in now is not necessarily going to provide you rewards tomorrow. In fact, it could be weeks or months down the road before you see the rewards associated with the effort that you're putting in now. It's really important to understand that, and that leads me into my next tip, which is all about having long-term goals. So it's definitely important to understand that YouTube is a long game, and it's really important to have long-term goals. It's an unfortunate thing that some of the successful search terms that even I use on this channel have to do with growing your channel fast, because people are always trying to move faster and nobody really seems to have the patience to do what's necessary to be successful on YouTube. All of the people out there that you see that have actual sustained success didn't do it overnight. So it's really important to establish long-term goals so you don't get fixated on these short-term successes thinking that is where the value in growing a YouTube channel is. You really need to understand that looking into the future, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 5 years down the road is where you are ultimately going to see that true success on YouTube. All right, so the final thought that I'll leave you with has to do with having the proper mindset with regards to other YouTubers. I know a lot of times we'll talk about competition when we are analyzing thumbnails to determine which thumbnail is most likely to win that click, but that does not mean that we are in direct competition with those YouTubers. If anything, those other YouTubers are your allies, and you want to build positive relationships with them as opposed to looking at them as the enemy, or that harsh competition that you are constantly trying to outdo. Yes, it is good to have friendly competition, but it's just important, if not more important, to develop positive relationships with these people that can ultimately be very helpful to you in helping your channel grow. I had the pleasure of spending time with a number of YouTubers who are actually in my niche when I went out to Vid Summit in Los Angeles, and the likes of Roberto Blake and Daryl Eves and Brian G. Johnson and Nick Nimmin. All of them are great people. They were a pleasure to spend time with, and they are all super supportive and helpful to their fellow YouTubers, and that's super essential. And I think it's something that you should recognize as you're moving forward with your channel, and understanding that while it may be good to have some friendly competition, the more you interact in a positive manner with your fellow YouTubers, the better off you'll be, and the more likely you are to be successful in the future. I hope you found this video helpful. If you would like to build a foundation for YouTube success, please consider subscribing to the channel and click that bell notification icon, and let's get started on growing together. That's all the time we have for today. My name is Dan Kjpargeter, and you're watching Creator Fundamentals. Thank you. All right, so before we get loaded, before we get loaded, that's not right at all.